Hello, today we're going to be talking about arithmetic sequence. So, what is an arithmetic sequence, you might ask? An arithmetic sequence is a sequence where the next term is calculated by adding a constant value either positive or negative to the previous term. That's from this knowledge that we have. Let's try a few examples if we can determine if the following sequence is an arithmetic sequence or not. Let's start by the first example. As you can see, this sequence has 1, 4, 7, and 10. The difference between the first and the second term is positive 3, and the second to the third term is also positive 3, and the last one is, you can see, is also positive 3. So you can assume that this is an arithmetic sequence because the value that's being added is a constant value from the first to the second and the third to the fourth term. Let's move on to the second example, shall we? In this sequence, we have -1, -10, -19, and -28. By looking at it, you can see that the first and the second one is -9. The difference between them is -9, sorry. And the second and third term is also -9, and the last one is also -9. So you can assume that this sequence is an arithmetic sequence. Now let's move on to the last sequence, shall we? So the difference between the first and the second term is 9, and the second and third term is 5, and the third to the fourth term is 10. So you can see that this is not the same value that's being added from the first to the second and second to the third term. So this is not an arithmetic sequence, but these two first examples are arithmetic sequence. Okay, so now we know if the sequence is an arithmetic sequence or not. Let's move on to the general form of arithmetic sequence. Okay, the first formula we're going to be talking about is to find the nth term. As you can see that a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d, where a1 is the first term of the sequence and n is the number of terms we're trying to find, and d is a common difference between each term. Okay, now let's move on to the second form. This formula is to find the sum of the nth term. As you can see, s sub n is the sum of the nth term is equal to n divided by 2 times a1 plus 8n. So now we're going to use this forms in the following problems. Okay, so the problem asks us to find the 27th term of the arithmetic sequence, and the sequence given is 8, 11, and 14. We're going to be using the first general form, which is a sub n is equal to a1 plus n minus 1 times d. So we know what is a sub 1 is equal to 5. N is equal to 27, which is the term we're trying to find. D, we know that is 3 because you can look from the difference between 5 and 8 is 3. 8 and 11 is also 3. So we know that D is equal to 3. Now we just plug in all the values. So A27 is equal to 5 plus 27 minus 1 times 3, sorry, and is equal to 5 plus 26 times 3, which is equal to 83. So the 27th term that we're trying to find is equal to 83, and that's how you find the 27th term of the sequence. Now moving on to the next problem. Okay, so this problem asks us to find the 40th term of the arithmetic sequence, but the where we're given is A8 is equal to 60 and A12 is equal to 48. So what do we know? We know that N is equal to 40. We don't know what is A1. We don't know what is D. So we were given these two numbers. We can use these two numbers and plug it inside the first form and subtract them from each other to find D. So let's try doing that now. So A8 is equal to A1 plus N minus, oh sorry, this is supposed to be 8. So it's supposed to be 8 minus 1 times D, where A12 is equal to A1 plus 12 minus 1 is times D. So we put in all these, which will be 60 is equal to A1 plus 8 minus 1 times D, 48 equal to A1 plus 12 minus 1 times D. So we subtract these two equations together, and we'll be getting 12 is equal to negative 4D. As you can see, A1, these two will be cancelled out, and from this one will be 7 and 11. So when you minus 7 and 11 together, we'll get negative 4. So this is what we're going to get, and we simplify this, and we'll get negative 3 is equal to D. Now we know what is D. We can plug in the first equation. It's for A1, to find A1, sorry, or 8 minus 1 times D. So we just plug it in. 60 is equal to A1 plus 7 times negative 3. So we're going to be getting negative 27. Oh no, sorry. This would be negative 21. Negative 21 plus A1 equal to 60. And then we'll move 21 to the other side, which will be 60 plus 21 is equal to A1, which A1 will be equal to 81. Okay, so now we know everything. Now we just plug in A40 is equal to A1 plus N, sorry, this was supposed to be 40 minus 1 times D. We just plug in everything that we know, which is for A40 is equal to 81 plus 39 times negative 3. So we'll be getting, no, we have to move, sorry, you'll know what is 39 times negative 3 is, D. 8 and 3 is 24, 24, 24, 24, and get 100 and negative 117, so that takes a while, sorry. It'll be equal to A40. So A40 will be negative 36. So now the 40th term of this arithmetic sequence will be negative 36. Okay, let's move on to the next problem. Okay, this is our last problem. The question asks, there are 125 passengers in the first carriage, 150 passengers in the second carriage, and 175 passengers in the third carriage. What's the total number of passengers in the first seventh carriage? So what do we know in this question? We know that we know A1 is equal to 125. We know A2 is equal to 175. Oh, sorry, that's A3. A2 is 150. 150 for A2. A3 is equal to 175. So we don't know what is, we know what n is because n is equal to 7. We don't know what A7 is equal to. We don't know what Z is equal to. So we should find D first. Find D is the easiest because you just use, because D is equal to 150 minus 125. So the second term minus the first term, it will equal to 25. And so we can use this to find A7, which A7 is equal to 150 plus, sorry, plus 7 minus 1 times 25. With this is equal to 125. Oh wait, sorry, that's supposed to be 125. 125 plus, there. This will be plus 6 times 25 with will be equal to 150 plus 125 to go this. So A7 is equal to 275. Now we can use this to find the sum of the seventh term. So remember the formula Sn equal to n divided by 2 plus A1 plus An. So we don't know Sn. Sn is S7 is equal to 7 divided by 2 plus 125 plus 275. So we can actually put it as this would be equal to 7 times 400 divided by 2. So this will be equal to 1400. So we now know that in the total sum of the passengers in all the carriage is equal to 1400 passengers. So now AA we know now like how many passengers there are, so this how you do this problem. This will be my last problem, so thank you for listening.